Today is Sunday, June 7th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we're on Chapter 10, To Employers. We will read page 142. Out of the 12 and 12, we are on Tradition 7. I believe we're going to finish that today by reading page 165. And of course, read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this beautiful Sunday morning, my friends. The sun's out. It's been raining quite a bit in Tennessee this past week. So it's so nice to see the sun. It made me think about a couple things. It made me think about how everything being so temporary makes things special, right? We'll get the sun for a little while and then eventually come the clouds again. And also thanking my higher power for the storms. Instead of waiting for them to pass, hurry up, going, wow, we must have needed this. And then to make it personal, wow, there must be something that I can learn from this storm in my life. A valuable lesson to be learned. I don't know if that made any sense, but let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from honestly the last few days of reading, this whole chapter obviously is about how employers can be better informed in communicating with their employees who might suffer from alcoholism. And in the last few days, we've been talking about how is the employee worth keeping on, or are they taking advantage, things like that. And also looking at the employee as if he is sick. Instead of just, willpower alone, like he better stop this. So let's continue that thought on page 142. Next, he can be assured that you do not intend to lecture, moralize, or condemn. That if this was done formerly, it was because of misunderstanding. If possible, express a lack of hard feeling toward him. At this point, it might be well to explain alcoholism. The illness. Say that you believe he's a gravely ill person, with his qualification. Perhaps being fatally ill. Does he want to get well? You ask because many alcoholics, being warped and drugged, do not want to quit. But does he? Will he take every necessary step, submit to anything to get well, to stop drinking forever? If he says yes, does he really mean it? Or down inside, does he think that he's fooling you? And then after rest and treatment that he'll be able to get away with a few drinks now and then. We believe a man should be thoroughly probed on these points. Be satisfied that he is not deceiving himself or you. Whether you mention this book is a matter of your discretion. If he temporizes and still thinks that he can ever drink again, even beer, he might as well be discharged after the next bender, which, if an alcoholic, he's almost certain to have. He should understand that emphatically. Either you are dealing with a man who can and will get well, or you are not. If not, why waste time with him? This may seem severe, but it is usually the best course. After satisfying yourself that your man wants to recover, and that he will go to any extreme to do so, you may suggest a definite course of action. For most alcoholics who are drinking, or who are just getting over a spree, a certain amount of physical treatment is desirable, even imperative. The matter of physical treatment should, of course, be referred to your own doctor. Whatever the method, its object is to thoroughly clear mind and body of the effects of alcohol. In competent hands, this seldom takes long, nor is it very expensive. Your man will fare better if placed in such a physical condition that he can think straight and no longer craves liquor. If you propose such a procedure to him, it may be necessary to advance the cost of the treatment. But we believe that it should be made plain that any expense will later be deducted from his pay. It is better for him to feel fully responsible. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Tradition 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. In the last couple of days, we've been talking about how money and AA, it can mix if used rightly to keep the groups alive in order for 12th step work to actually happen. And then in the last couple of days, we talked about a sum of $10,000 left in somebody's will who passed that's been donated to the AA groups. And $10,000 by itself might not seem like a lot of money, although it does to me. It opens the door to a lot of other complications in the future if there are future wills that leave a large sum of money. And then, as it said earlier, the one who pays the piper is apt to call the tune. And maybe that would harm the AA program from its primary purpose. So, we're going to finish off this chapter on page 165. Then our trustees wrote a bright page of AA history. They declared for the principle that AA must always stay poor. Bare running expenses plus a prudent reserve would henceforth be the foundation's financial policy. Difficult as it was, they officially declined that $10,000 and adopted a formal, airtight resolution that all such future gifts would be similarly declined. At that moment, we believe, the principle of corporate poverty was firmly and finally embedded in AA tradition. When these facts were printed, there was a profound reaction. To people familiar with the endless drives for charitable funds, AA presented a strange and refreshing spectacle. Approving editorials here and abroad generated a wave of confidence in the integrity of Alcoholics Anonymous. They pointed out that the irresponsible had become responsible, and that by making financial independence part of its tradition, Alcoholics Anonymous had revived an ideal that its era had almost forgotten. 24 hours a day, June 7th. AA thought for the day. Alcoholism is a progressive illness. We go through the 3 stages of social drinking, trouble drinking, and merry-go-round drinking. We land in hospitals and jails. We eventually lose our homes, our families, and our self-respect. Yes, alcoholism is a progressive illness, and there are only 3 ends to it: the insane asylum, the morgue, or total abstinence. Will I choose not to take the first drink? Meditation for the day. You can not only live a new life, but you can also grow in grace and power and beauty. Reach ever forward and upward after the things of the Spirit. In the animal world, the very form of an animal changes to enable it to reach that upon which it delights to feed. Your whole character changes as you reach upward for the things of the Spirit, for beauty, for love, for honesty, for purity, and for unselfishness. Reaching after these things of the Spirit, your whole nature becomes changed so that you can best receive and delight in the wonders of the abundant life. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may reach forward and upward. I pray that my character may be changed by this reaching upward for the things of the Spirit. Daily Reflection, June 7th. Long-term hope. Since most of us are born with an abundance of natural desires, it isn't strange that we often let these far exceed their intended purpose. When they drive us blindly, or we willfully demand that they supply us with more satisfactions or pleasures than are possible or due us, that is the point at which we depart from the degree of perfection that God wishes for us here on earth. That is the measure of our character defects, or, if you wish, of our sins. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 65. This is where long-term hope is born and perspective is gained, both of the nature of my illness and the path of my recovery. The beauty of AA lies in knowing that my life, with God's help, will improve. The AA journey becomes richer, and the understanding becomes truth. The dreams become realities, and today becomes forever. As I step into the AA light, my heart fills with the presence of God. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading and some beautiful stuff. And what's even more beautiful, or add on to that beauty, I should say, is my wife just served me some cinnamon buns to go with my oatmeal cookie coffee. Oh, come on. Life is good. But going back to the reading and the daily reflection, it's beautiful here because it does talk about both sides, right? Of our illness and the freedom and sobriety. So right here, the 12 and 12 reading on page 65. Since most of us are born with an abundance of natural desires, it isn't strange that we often let these far exceed their intended purpose. We as human beings, we do have natural desires. It's when we go to the extreme with those that we cause a lot of damage, not just to everybody else, but to ourselves. It says here, when they drive us blindly, or we willfully demand that they supply us with more satisfactions or pleasures than are possible or due us, that's the point at which we depart from the degree of perfection that God wishes for us here on earth. That's when all the struggles happen, right? Okay, here's a practical example. I'm looking at these 2 cinnamon buns right here. I know me. I don't really do well with moderation, okay? Go figure, right? I'm going to eat these 2 cinnamon buns, and I'm going to cherish these 2 cinnamon buns that my wife so graciously delivered to me. I didn't ask her, I promise. She did it on her own. But I'm going to stop after 2. My natural desire might be to want more and more and more, but I have to think long term. Do I want to go in excess in that direction and to continue to do that over and over again? Well, no, not if I want to see grandkids one day. And again, in controlling the controllables, I mean, I could do everything right with my diet and still get hit by a bus. I mean, like, that's just life. And I have to accept life on life's terms. But if I pray and I go the process and do my part and act my way into the right thinking by trying to do the right thing, I have a better chance of living in freedom today. And it says here in the reflection here, this is where long-term hope is born and perspective is gained. Both of the nature of my illness, talking about those desires, right? And the path of my recovery. The beauty of AA lies in knowing that my life, here it is, with God's help, will improve. The AA journey becomes richer. The understanding becomes truth. The dreams become realities, and today becomes forever. I step in the AA light, and my heart fills with the presence of God. For me, guys, AA is not just not drinking. It's doing these steps over and over, training my brain to do the right thing, to go down the right path. And I know I've said this illustration many times, but I remember when I lived in Jersey, we lived at the dead end of our street. It was kind of nice. I'd play hockey back there, that little cul-de-sac. But if you went beyond the cul-de-sac, there was about an acre of land, and then there were a bunch of woods behind it. So my sister and I, we would build new paths in the woods just for fun, you know, because our parents kicked us out of the house. So we would do that. And the first time we would build a new path, I mean, you're starting from scratch. You're getting cut up. You're tripping over things, getting scrapes and everything. But eventually, by going down that path, that new path over and over again, eventually it becomes more and more natural. We don't trip as much. We don't get scratched up as much. And it leads to a new place that maybe we've never been to before. I remember when I finally built a path that led from the back of our yard, cutting across the woods, all the way to the parking lot of the Best Buy in Deptford, New Jersey. And that led to, I'd go in there, I'd read a video game magazine or something like that. Then I'd cut across the Deptford Mall, then eventually Funko Land, if anyone remembers what that is, and some other places. But my point is that I had to go a new way. And that's like what we're doing with our brains, right? We're building a new path. And I heard a dear friend in a meeting always say he's so practical that he looked at these meetings like going to class. And he's filling himself up with positivity and new wisdom. And he said, the more I do that, the less and less room I have for negativity. Because there's only so much space that this brain can hold, right? So if I fill up everything I can today with positivity, with righteousness, with what the steps teach me to do, there's not a lot of room for negativity. It's beautiful. And I wanted to talk about the 24 hours a day, but I know I'm getting up on time, so I'll just say this. The prayer itself, I pray that I may reach forward and upward. Once again, kind of go into those new paths, right? I pray that my character may be changed by this reaching upward for the things of the Spirit. So that tells me I reach first, acting my way into the right thinking first, even when I don't feel like it. Do it anyway. And then eventually, through wash, rinse, and repeat, through walking through that new path over and over again, eventually, my character may be changed. And I might be a better Rob than I was maybe a few years ago, maybe a few days ago. Great stuff. But all right, my friends, that's all we have time for today. I hope you have a great one today. Please know if you are sober, you're a miracle. And you have a unique gift to help the next suffering alcoholic. A unique superpower. And I pray that you would use your gift today. And if you are not sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well. That you have great worth and value. And the pain that you might be experiencing right here and right now could become the greatest gift, the greatest teacher that you'll ever receive in the future. And I know that's hard to believe in the moment, but I've experienced that in my life, and I've experienced it to be true. So I just pray that today you get the help that you need. There are so many resources out there, the Everything AA app, all the in-person meetings that you can do, the Zoom meetings that you can do, all the literature, the podcasts out there. There is more support now than there's ever been. But do you have the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to take that first step toward change? That's my charge to you, my friend. Trust me, you will not regret it. But as always, my friends, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I am just a joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery. Honored to be here today. And for giving another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.